What up, YouTube legs? Come back at you with another custom StarCraft 2 cast. It's been a minute since my last video. I'll get to the reason behind that shortly, but first, let's go ahead and introduce our players. Spawning on the top left-hand side of the map, it's our blue StarCraft 2 player U playing as the Barcode. Going up against his opponent, spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map, it's our red Brood War Zerg player, Kiwian, also playing as the Barcode. If you recognize this name, that's because Kiwian is a former competitive StarCraft 2 player. His main race was Terran, and he's playing the Brood War Zerg today, so this is going to be interesting. Yu is a Grandmaster player himself. This is going to be a wild game, I can already tell. You going for a little bit of mineral harassment, also seeing that this was what appears to be a hatchery first into a spawning pool. This doesn't rule out any sort of Zergling shenanigans necessarily, but you can rest assured that he's not being excessively cheesed. Taking a look at what Yu is up to on his side of the map, he is going for what appears to be a gateway into Nexus expansion, which, you know, as you do against the Zerg. And I forgot to mention, if you're not familiar with this mod, this is the SC Evo Complete mod, which puts together the StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2 races. It is so sick. It's one of my favorite mods next to the Custom Zion Races mod, which, the Custom Zion Races mod, if you're not familiar with it, adds 3 new playable races to this game. It's actually insane. Looks like we got 4 Zerglings running to the other side of the map. They will likely be scouting Zerglings. I don't think Kiwian is going to try and do any serious damage. It actually looks like he's running around the map, taking a look for what are potential proxies, I think. And also, will he? Okay, no, for a second I thought he was going to get this this poor probe. I thought the intercept was going to happen, but no, this probe is safe, will get spotted by the Overlord. So Kiwian should probably rest assured that there is no proxy on his side of the map. Now, I was going to tell you guys why it's been so long since my last cast, and literally it's just work. I had deadlines at work, man, and I was putting in 10-hour days, and I just did not have the soul to cast StarCraft 2. My mind was not in it. I tried to cast, and then I sounded so tired. It was not up to my standard. And also, on top of that, I've been traveling, so I'm away for 2 months, and we're casting on a mini gaming PC in the attic of a garage. I make it sound way worse than it is. It's really not that bad. This garage has 2 drum sets and a bed. It's actually a pretty sick garage, but yeah. We are not casting within my element. Anyway, let's get back to the show. If you guys have questions, I will, you know, I'll respond to comments down below if you have questions on what the state of my life is right now for the next 2 months. It is crazy, but we are vibing. We have 1 adept right here, actually getting some good scouting information and killing some Zerglings as well. There's only 2 Zerglings, now 3 Zerglings. I think that adept could have done some more serious damage. And what do we have here? We have what is going to be an Oracle. I love this. An Oracle against Brood War Zerg. This will be really interesting because there are no queens in the sense of like static. Well, I guess the queen isn't technically static defense, but it may as well be. You know, we do have the creep colony here, but unfortunately the creep colony has to morph into a spore colony, and this Oracle is just like, hey, look, here I am. But the reason behind that is because Yu's micro is elsewhere. We have Zerglings. Oh no, we have Zerglings in the natural base location. Where's this Oracle? The Oracle is getting some kills right now. So this Oracle with 10 kills is actually ridiculous. Only 3 probes going down to those Zerglings. Is that right? So 3 workers killed by Kiwian and 11 killed by our blue Protoss player Yu. We have 1 Zergling left, which will get chased away, and it does go down. Where's this Oracle? The Oracle with its 13 kills. That is actually outrageous. We do have the 1 supply Hydralisks, though, coming to try and save the day, but 13 workers killed by that single Oracle is brutal. We do have the macro hatchery as well. Now, if you guys are not familiar with the Brood War Zerg, and I said it already, we don't have queens, which means we don't have larva injects. We do have a flying queen, which is like a casting unit. It's actually kind of similar to the Oracle, minus the insane DPS against workers, but there are no larva injects. So what you have to do is you have to rely on hatcheries for those larvae. I almost said larva too soon, and then my brain just stopped working. But yes, we do have to rely on those macro hatcheries for the larva. The creep colony will be morphing into a spore colony, which is anti-air static defense for the Zerg. This Oracle chilling with its 13 kills. I love that. And this, okay, this Overlord was acting mighty suspicious, but this Overlord just going for the scout into the main base for the Protoss player. We also have what is going to be a third base coming down for our blue Protoss player you as well. Taking a look at what we got going on right here. Do we have what is going to be, okay, we have 2 Oracles, but we don't have a, okay, we do have a creep colony, but we don't have the spore colony. There are 4 Hydras here though, so that base is pretty safe. What do we got right here? We do have the spore colony. I'm curious to see how this is going to work out for our blue Protoss player. One of the Oracles does go down. 5 more workers going down to those Oracles though. So 18 workers killed in total this game. And now we have what are going to be Adepts creeping into the back of the mineral line right here. Oh man, this is brutal. The slow 1 supply Hydralisks, but I love this. Using the drones as a wall, trapping the Adepts, able to take out those Adepts and keep them from going into the main base for our Zerg player. Simultaneously though, we have what are going to be 2 more Adepts kind of chilling at the 3rd base location. And where are they now? They're going into what is the natural base location. They will ultimately go down. Total workers killed by blue though is 27. That is actually outrageous. And you guys, I'm actually really impressed with this mini gaming PC. I bought it specifically so I could cast while I was out of town. And yeah, maybe there's some kind of minor frame drops right here, but really, this PC is, it's really cruising, man. And I bought it for really cheap too. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm having fun. Army supply though, look at this. Despite the fact that we saw so many workers die, we have 30 army supply to 13. So that was kind of an all-any harassment for our blue Protoss player. We have a lot of cannons right here. We have the super battery as well, but this is so many Hydras taking out all the stacked defense. Not all of these not all these cannons were warped in on time, I don't think. The Hydras running away to these Archons, taking so much damage from these Archons, I should say. And I love the positioning on this Overlord as well, using this ramp, keeping itself hidden from the anti-air from the Protoss player. I didn't know how to say that for a second. Taking a look at the upgrades, let's see what we got. So we have Glaives, we have +1 attack, and we have Zealot speed. What we got for the Zerg player, it looks like Zergling speed as well. So, this is still anybody's game despite the fact that Zerg lost so many workers in the early game. Army supply is virtually even. Now it's a little bit in favor for our Protoss player. Taking a look at the worker supply as well though, 69 workers, nice, to 64 for the Zerg player. So Kiwian is doing a great job at keeping up with his macro despite the fact that he lost so many workers compared to his opponent. What is that, 9 times the workers compared to what you lost? That is actually insane. And I love this army composition as well. The Archons, you can never go wrong when going against the Zerg with that extra damage against bio. And guess what? Zerg is entirely bio. Look, I think it would be really cool if StarCraft 2 Zerg had some sort of mechanical unit, like an infested unit, almost like the infested, like, I don't know, the infested Terran, but like, some infested machine from the Protoss. I think that would be cool. I know maybe it's not super lore accurate because, you know, the Zerg are all biological, so it wouldn't make much sense. So I'm sorry if I just made a bunch of you StarCraft fans cry, and obviously I'm also a StarCraft fan. Man, the army supply is looking really scary, but these Hydras are 1 supply Hydras. So I'm looking at the army supply, I'm like, why is this only 36 army supply? And we see how many Hydras on the field right now? 33, that's insane. So this is almost a pure Hydra build coming out from Kiwian. Do we have Lurker aspect? We don't have Lurker aspect, I don't think. It's actually just now being researched. So let's see. Once the Lurkers are finally researched, I think this will really bolster the power, the DPS power for the Red Army. But these Archons are just so scary. Do we have Storm? We also have Storm, but we don't have any High Templar behind this. There is a couple sunken colonies right here, or there are a couple sunken colonies, I should say, doing a decent amount of static defense. They're really well positioned kind of between these 2 hatcheries. And now we have what is one One High Templar getting a really decent storm on these Hydralisks. And now this army is looking really scary. What is this? 53 army supply for the blue Protoss player to 34 for the red Zerg player. And we have what is also going to be a run-by of Zerglings going towards what is the 4th base location for you. We'll see, though. This is a lot of cannons backed by the shield battery. So I think these Zerglings will all go down. Taking a look at what's going on at the 3rd base, or is this the 4th base location, actually, for the Zerg player with the macro hatcheries. This army is just looking so scary. The storm forcing the retreat on these Hydralisks, and now it looks like the 4th hatchery will go down. The 4th mining hatchery, I should say, will go down, because I'm not counting the macro hatcheries as a mining hatchery. So the 4th base will potentially go down, but never mind. Looks like a lot of this blue army getting cleaned up by the Zerglings. Taking a look at the workers killed at this point in the game, 44 workers killed by blue and only 3 killed by the red Zerg player. So despite the fact that Kiwian lost so many workers, it's actually causing me physical pain. He's really doing a great job at macroing. And taking a look, we do have a lot of floating minerals for the blue Protoss player, but I think it's because we don't have a lot of gas. So unless you wants to do a big mineral dump into Zealots, which I think maybe would be not a bad call, he can't really spend that much money. And also keep in mind, he is microing against the red army for the Zerg player. But now we finally have what are going to be the lurkers. Lurker aspect is finished. And do we have an observer with this army? We don't. We do have a robotics facility. But where is the robotics facility? I saw... Okay, here it is. So there's our robotics facility. Taking a look at the units, we do have 2 observers right now. One is in that observer mode, but no, there's no observer with the main army, I don't think. So Yu is actually just chilling with his army right now until I think he gets an observer and he can decide to engage this army. But what I would do is maybe try to engage like the 4th base, but Kiwian doing a great job at spreading his lurkers around all his bases to make sure everything is covered, because the lurkers play a lot like siege tanks, right? So you can just walk away from them and not worry about them unless they're everywhere. And in this case, they're everywhere, and it's kind of a bad time for the Protoss. Taking a look at the army supply, though, 64 army supply to 40 now. Slight lead for the blue Protoss player Yu. Taking a look at the worker supply, 75 workers to 71, virtually even. Taking a look at the resources lost, 9,600 resources lost for Yu to 13,000 resources lost for our red Zerg player Kiwian. A run by here with the Zerglings, but the Zealots so good against the Zerglings. Even the Brood War Zerglings will be able to chase away that red harassment. And we actually have a Zealot here, which was able to scout what is this, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5th base for the red Zerg player. More Zerglings running around, some of them actually getting baited into these Zealots, but able to take out a lot of the Zealots, and now running towards the, what is this, the 3rd or 4th base location for the blue Protoss player. But with these cannons and with the Zealots, it's just so hard to break through that. We actually have to see a bigger commit to fighting at those bases rather than just running those Zerglings by, because the Zerglings going against the cannons and going against the Zealots is just not ideal. Will the cancel get forced on this hatchery? And it actually does not. The cancel missed by Kiwian. I think Kiwian was focusing right here on these lurkers, but unfortunately for the lurkers, the cannons do detect them, and we have carriers on the battlefield as well. I didn't even notice that. And we have what is going to be +2 sky attack upgrades being researched for the Protoss player. We have +3 ground attack for the Protoss player as well. What do we have for the Zerg player? We have +1 range upgrades for the Zerg player and +1 melee attack upgrades for the Zerg player, as well as +2 carapace. So upgrades are relatively even all around the board. I love these lurkers, but now with the carriers, I would love to see something like the Scourge or a Spire being built. We actually do have the Spire, so do we have any Scourge on the field already? We have 2 Queens, which, like I said, are spellcasting units for the Zerg. I don't see any Scourge yet, but like I said, we do have the Spires, so we should see Scourges coming out relatively soon here. What is this? We have what is going to be an attempted attack at, what is this? I don't even know, the 7th base, roughly, for our blue Protoss player. The lurker does get, or actually a few lurkers do get caught by this observer, will go down to the Archons. Simultaneously, we have a Zergling run by. Actually, I would love to see the Zerglings attack this base. Are they going to do it, though, is the question. No, they're going for what is that 3rd or 4th base location. But like I said, with the Zealots, with the shield battery, with the cannons, this is going to be really hard to break. And on top of that, with the Mothership casting Cloak on everything, able to save the day. So many Zerglings do go down, but a few of them do try and go for the natural base location. The Hero Adept, though, these Zerglings are on move command, I think. So this Adept, with its 9 kills, will happily destroy all those Zerglings at the same time. We have what is going to be an attack with a crazy Protoss ball. But the Scourges taking out 2 of these carriers. 1 carrier getting dangerously close to killed. A couple more Scourges trying to get through this DPS, but unfortunately, how many carriers is this? We still have 4 carriers. This is rough for our red Zerg player, Kiwian. You with that tech switch into the carriers, I love that. We have a bunch of kind of like, I don't want to say like last hurrah, but we have this kind of Hail Mary attempt with the Zerglings trying to find something to engage with to do some damage to the Protoss economy. But bro, this is rough. We also are going to be, I think, fully charged up. Yes, fully charged up High Templar with their storms. This is going to be insane. We do have the Defiler with its Dark Swarm able to reduce some of that incoming ranged damage, but unfortunately, this is just so much DPS for our blue Protoss player. This is kind of going into critical mass territory. I swear, man, this would be a really difficult army to destroy. Taking a look at the army supply as well, 143 army supply to 62, way in favor for our blue Protoss player. Kiwian trying to do something here, but we also have, I love this, the Dark Templar, which is actually a really good defensive unit at this point in the game. Clearly, Kiwian was not expecting that. And the lurkers going down, the creep colonies going down as well. No more static defense for this 5th base location. I think this is the 5th base location for our red Zerg player. It goes down almost instantly. The feedback on the Defiler forcing it to retreat back to the main army. There's just not a lot of anti-air right here. We do have the Scourge, but the Scourge, I didn't mention it, are basically like flying Banelings, so they only do DPS once. So I don't know if that's even really DPS so much as like burst damage. Oh man, this is rough. 29 more workers going down for the red Zerg player. And now, what is this? What do we have on the production tab? We have what are going to be Hydras. And what is that? I wonder, actually. Oh, Zerglings. Okay, I couldn't see that. My screen was too small. I am on a portable screen, by the way, so I'm doing my best to read all the small print. So we have some Zerglings. We actually have a big run-by of Zerglings to what I want to say is the 3rd base location for our blue Protoss player. A lot of the Zerglings actually getting through to this, though. With the Defiler as well for the support, it looks like this base may go down. So I think Kiwian going for the all-in, but I don't think this is enough. The Hydras ultimately forced on the retreat. They will go down. Oh, this is rough. Looks like the blue Protoss player making his way into the natural base location. Luckily for Kiwian, nothing is mining here, but at this point, I think that's all she wrote. I just don't see a lot that our red Zerg player can do to come back from this game. We also have the Dark Templar trying to defend against this mass of Zerglings. I would love to see a super battery to protect these cannons. And now it looks like what is an attempted base race, and actually these Zerglings doing quite a bit of damage because look, we have what is the 3rd base that went down. But unfortunately, these... Wait, what? Oh, the Defiler. Was the Defiler detecting that? I actually don't know, but Kiwian throwing the GG, giving the victory to you. What an action-packed game. If you guys enjoyed what you saw, please consider shooting me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want me to cast any of your own games, I will leave my email and Discord in the description below. Feel free to stop by and say hi, and I'll see you guys on the next one.